that you're live, it won't be live unless I tell you it is live.
Got
now
it.
it's showing it's live.
Yeah.
But it's not live yet. It's just loading.
Only Medha is getting my sense of humor. She is the only one who's laughing like.
And we are live.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to yet another episode of K12 TV. My name is Stuti Saxena, and today's episode is special for two reasons. First, we have Miss Samira debuting with me today. And second, our students have put together an amazing declamation performance for all of you. Can I please ask Miss Samira to switch on her camera? Hi, Samira.
Hi, Stuti. Thanks for the introduction. So let me start today with what is declamation. Declamation is a form of public speaking. Today, our students will be reading different speeches. These speeches were given by scholars, statesmen, leaders, and activists. They inspire and educate us. Students will be reading parts of these speeches and adding in their own expression and creativity in their presentation skills. So let's begin with the presentation, Stuti.
Yes, of course. So let's begin. I'd like to call our first participant for the day, Anand. He is in grade 8 and from Pune. Anand is performing Leonardo DiCaprio's speech on climate change. All the best, Anand.
I stand before you not as an expert, but as a concerned citizen. One of the 400,000 people who marched in the streets of New York on Sunday and the billions of others around the world who want to solve our climate crisis. As an actor, I pretend for a living. I play fictitious characters, often solving fictitious problems. I believe that mankind has looked at climate change in that same way, as if it were fiction, as if pretending the climate change wasn't real would somehow make it go away. But I think we all know better than that now. Every week, we are seeing new and undeniable climate events, evidence that accelerated climate change is here right now. Droughts are intensifying, our oceans are acidifying, with methane plumes rising up from the ocean floor. We are seeing extreme weather events and the West Antarctic and Greenland ice sheets melting at unprecedented rates, decades ahead of scientific projections. None of this is rhetoric and none of this is hysteria. It is a fact. The scientific community knows it, industry knows it, governments know it, even the United States military knows it. The chief of the US Navy Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel Locklear, recently said that climate change is our single greatest security threat. My friends, this body, perhaps more than any other gathering in human history, now faces this difficult but achievable task. You can make history or you will be vilified by it. To be clear, this is not about just telling people to change the light bulbs or to buy a hybrid car. This disaster has grown beyond the choices that individuals make. This is now about our industries and our governments around the world taking decisive large scale action. We need to put a price tag on carbon emissions and eliminate government subsidies for all oil, coal, and gas companies. We need to end the free ride industrial polluters have been given in the name of free market economy. They do not deserve our tax dollars. They deserve our scrutiny, for the economy itself will die if our ecosystems collapse. The good news is that renewable energy is not only achievable, but good economic policy. This is not a partisan debate, it is a human one. Clean air and a livable climate are inalienable human rights. And solving this crisis is not a question of politics, it is a question of our own survival. This is the most urgent of times and the most urgent of messages. Honored delegates, leaders of the world, I pretend for a living, but you do not. The people made their voices heard on Sunday around the world, and the momentum will not stop. But now it is your turn. The time to answer humankind's greatest challenge is now. We beg of you to face it with courage and honesty. Thank you.
That was a wonderful performance, Anand, and I think you did a very good job and very inspiring speech as well. Thank you. So now I'd like to call our next participant for the day. Her name is Grishma. She's in grade 6 and from Bangalore. Grishma will be presenting Mr. Barack Obama's famous inaugural speech. Grishma, are you ready? Are you feeling nervous?
Yes.
Don't be. I'm sure you'll do a good job. All the best.
If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer. It's the answer spoken by young and old, rich and poor, Democrat and Republican, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, gay, straight, disabled, and not disabled, Americans who sent a message to the world that we have never been just a collection of individuals. We are, and always will be, the United States of America. I was never the likeliest candidate for this office. We didn't start with much money or many endorsements. It was built by working men and women who dug into what little savings they had to give to the cause. It drew strength from the young people who rejected the myth of their generation's apathy, who left their homes and their families for jobs that offered little pay and less sleep. It drew strength from the not so young people who braved the bitter cold and scorching heat to knock on doors of perfect strangers, and from the millions of Americans who volunteered and organized and proved that more than 2 centuries later, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people has not perished from the earth. This is your victory. And I know you didn't do this just to win an election. There are mothers and fathers who will lie awake after the children fall asleep and wonder how they'll make the mortgage or pay their doctor's bill or save enough for their child's college education. There's new energy to harness, new jobs to be created, new schools to build, and threats to meet, alliances to repair. The road ahead will be long, our climb will be steep, but America, I have never been more hopeful than I am tonight that we will get there. There will be setbacks and false starts. There are many who won't agree with every decision or policy I make as president. And we know the government can't solve every problem. But I will always be honest with you about the challenges we face. I will listen to you, especially when we disagree. This victory alone is not the change we seek. It is only the chance for us to make that change. And that cannot happen if we go back to the way things were. It can't happen without you, without a new spirit of service, a new spirit of sacrifice. So let us summon a new spirit of patriotism, of responsibility, where each of us resolves to pitch in and work harder and look after not only ourselves, but each other. To those who would tear the world down, we will defeat you. To those who seek peace and security, we support you. And to all those who have wondered if America's beacon still burns as bright, tonight we proved once more that the true strength of our nation comes not from the might of our arms or the scale of our wealth, but from the enduring power of our ideals, democracy, liberty, opportunity, and unyielding hope. That is the true genius of America, that America can change. This is our time to put our people back to work and open doors of opportunity for our kids, to restore prosperity and promote the cause of peace, to reclaim that American dream and reaffirm that fundamental truth, that out of many, we are one, that while we breathe, we hope. Thank you.
That was a very powerful speech, Grishma. Thank you. You didn't seem nervous at all. Congratulations for putting in such great effort.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you. Now, our next participant is Nida. Nida is in 5th standard. She's from Kerala. Today, she is going to be presenting Emma Watson's speech, He for She. Nida, are you ready?
Yes.
All the best.
Today, we are launching a campaign called He for She. I'm reaching out to you because I need your help. We want to end gender inequality, and to do that, we need everyone to be involved. For the record, feminism by definition is the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. It is a theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. I started questioning gender-based assumptions when I was 8. I was confused at being called bossy because I wanted to have the clothes we put on for appearance, but the boys were not. I am from Britain and think it is right that as a woman I am paid the same as my male counterparts. I think it is right I should be able to make decisions about my own body. I think it is right that socially I am afforded the same respect as men. But sadly, I can say that there is no one country in the world where all women can expect to receive these rights. These rights I consider to be human rights, but I am one of the lucky ones. My life is a sheer privilege because my parents didn't love me less because I was born a daughter. And if you still hate the word, it's not the word that is important, but the idea and ambition behind it. Because not all women have been afforded the same rights that I have. Men, I would like to take this opportunity to extend you a formal invitation. Gender equality is your issue too. Because to date, I've seen my father's role as a parent being valued less by society despite my needing his presence as a child as much as my mother's. I've seen young men suffering from mental illness, unable to ask for help for fear it would make them look less macho. Men don't have the benefits of equality either. If men don't have to be aggressive in order to be accepted, women won't feel compelled to be submissive. If men don't have to control, women won't have to be controlled. Both men and women should feel free to be sensitive. Both men and women should feel free to be strong. If we stop defining each other by what we are not and start defining ourselves by what we are, we can all be freer. And this is what He for She is about. It's about freedom. I'm inviting you to step forward, to be seen, to speak up, and to be the he for she. And to ask yourself, if not me, who? If not now, when? Thank you.
Wow, that was a very inspiring speech, Nida, and very well presented as well. Thank you. Our next participant is Medha. Medha is in 4th standard. She's from Mumbai. Today, she is going to be presenting Jawaharlal Nehru's famous speech, Tryst with Destiny. Are you ready, Medha?
Yes, ma'am.
All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. A moment comes, which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment, we take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and her people, and to the still larger cause of humanity. At the dawn of history, India started on an unending quest, and trackless centuries are filled with the striving grandeur of her success and failures. Through good and ill fortune alike, she has never lost sight of that quest or forgotten the ideals which gave her strength. We end today a period of misfortunes, and India discovers herself again. Freedom and power bring responsibility. Before the birth of freedom, We have endured all the pains of labor, and our hearts are heavy with the memory of this sorrow. The service of India means the service of millions who suffer. It means the ending of poverty and ignorance and disease and inequality of opportunity. And so we have to labor and to work to give reality to our dreams. Those dreams are for India, but they are also for the world, for all the nations. And peoples are too closely knit together today for any one of them to imagine that it can live apart. To the people of India, whose representatives we are, we make an appeal to join us with faith and confidence in this great adventure. This is no time for pity and destructive criticism, no time for ill will or blaming others. To the nations and peoples of the world, we send greetings and pledge ourselves to cooperate with them in furthering peace, freedom, and democracy. And to India, our much loved motherland, the ancient, the eternal, and the ever new, we pay our reverent homage and we bind ourselves afresh to our service. Thank you.
What an incredible performance, Medha. Amazing, very, very well done. You seemed so confident and very inspiring words as well. Thank you. Our next performance is by Anvesha. Anvesha is in 4th standard. She is from Pune. Today she is going to be presenting Subhash Chandra Bose's speech, "Give me blood and I'll give you freedom." Anvesha, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All the best.
Thank you. There is a gigantic movement going on inside India, and millions of our countrymen are prepared for maximum suffering and sacrifice in order to achieve liberty. Unfortunately, ever since the Great Fight of 1857, our countrymen are disarmed, whereas the enemy is armed to the teeth. Without arms and without a modern army, it is impossible for disarmed people to win freedom in this modern age. Through the grace of Providence and through the help of generous Nippon, it has become possible for Indians in East Asia to be united to a man in the endeavor to win freedom and all the religious and other differences that the British tried to engineer inside India. According to the program of total mobilization, I demanded of you men money and materials. Regarding men, I am glad to tell you that I have obtained sufficient recruits already. The most important of all is the problem of sending reinforcements in men and in supplies to the fighting fronts. If we do not do so, we cannot hope to maintain our success at the fronts, nor can we hope to penetrate deeper into India. Friends, today I demand of you one thing above all. I demand your blood. It is blood alone that can avenge the blood that the enemy has split. It is blood alone that can pay the price of freedom. Give me blood, and I promise you freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Anvesha. That was certainly a rousing performance and so wonderfully presented. Thank you so much for taking the stage. And now I'd like to call upon our next participant. Anvika, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, the stage is all yours.
Good evening to all. I'm Yarasi Sri Anvika. I'm in grade 4. I'm from Hyderabad. Today, I'm going to read the speech that Malala gave for the Nobel Peace Prize. In this speech, Malala is talking about how education is important for every child. Leaders must seize this opportunity to guarantee a free, quality, primary and secondary education for every child. Some will say this is impractical, too expensive, or too hard, or even impossible. But it is time the world thinks bigger. Dear brothers and sisters, the so-called world of adults may understand it, but we children don't. Why is that countries which we call strong are so powerful in creating wars, but so weak in bringing peace? Why is that why is that giving guns is so easy, but giving books is so hard? Why is that making tanks is so easy, but building schools is so difficult? As we are living in the modern age, the 21st century, and we all believe that nothing is impossible. We can reach the moon, and maybe soon we'll land on Mars. Then, in this, the 21st century, we must be determined that our dream of quality education for all will also come true. So let us bring equality, justice, and peace for all, not just the politicians and the world leaders. We all need to contribute. Me, you. It is our duty. So we must work and not wait. I call upon my fellow children to stand up around the world. Dear sisters and brothers, let us become the first generation to decide to be the last. The empty classrooms, the lost childhoods, wasted potential, let these things end with us. Let this be the last time that a boy or a girl spends their childhood in a factory. Let this be the last time that a girl gets forced into early child marriage. Let this be the last time that an innocent child loses their life in war. Let this be the last time that a classroom remains empty. Thank you.
Thank you, Anvika, for delivering a speech on such an important topic. That was a wonderful performance. And now I'd like to call on our next participant, Anamay. Anamay, are you ready to deliver your speech?
Yes, ma'am.
The stage is all yours.
Good evening to all. I am Anamay Chaudhary from grade 5th, in which I study in Abhinav Global School, Dwarka, Sector 30, and I live in New Delhi. I am going to read a part of the speech from Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator. In this speech, he is telling us not to fight but work together. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in ruin. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The airplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourself to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, tight you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourself to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate. Only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. Thank you.
That was such a wonderful performance, so inspiring and delivered with such powerful words. Thank you, Anamay. And now, up next is Ananya. Ananya, the stage is yours. Good luck.
Good evening, all. I'm Ananya Chaudhary Manin. I'm in fifth grade. I'm from Telangana. Today, I'm going to read a part of speech that Meghan Markle delivered at the UN Women. This speech is about gender equality. And to bring attention to this topic, Meghan Markle talks about how we have to increase women's political participation at every level of government. Equality means that UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is equal to the young intern at the UN who's dreaming about shaking his hand. It means that a wife is equal to her husband, a sister to her brother. Not better, not worse. They are equal. UN Women, as you guys know, has defined the year 2030 as the expiration date for gender inequality. And here's what's staggering. The study shows that at the current rate, the elimination of gender inequality won't be possible until 2095. That's another 80 years from now. When it comes to women's political participation and leadership, the percentage of female parliamentarians globally has only increased by 11% since 1995. 7% in 20 years? Come on, this has to change. Women make up more than half of the world's population and potential. So it is neither just nor practical for their voices, for our voices to go unheard at the highest levels of decision making. The way that we can change this, in my opinion, is to mobilize girls and women to see their value as leaders and to support them in these efforts. To have leaders such as President Kagame of Rwanda continue to be a role model of a country which has a parliamentary system comprised of 64% of female leaders. I mean, it's the highest of any government in the world. It's unbelievable. We need more men like that. Just as we need more men like my father, who championed my 11-year-old self to stand up for what is right. In doing this, we remind girls that their small voices are in fact not small at all, and that they can affect change. In doing this, we remind women that their involvement matters, that they need to become active in their communities, in their local government, as well as in the highest parliamentary positions. Thank you.
What an absolutely engaging and riveting performance that was, Ananya. Thank you so much for delivering this speech with us. And now I'd like to call upon Adi to deliver the next speech.
Good evening. I'm Adinanda of class 8. I'm from Noida. Today, I'm going to present a part of speech given by Steve Jobs as the 2005 Stanford Commencement Address. In this speech, he's inspiring us to not give up on our dreams, to keep fighting for what we believe in. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generations of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyce and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still love what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I had been rejected, but I was still in love, and so I decided to start over. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter the one of the most creative periods of my life. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next, another company named Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. Pixar went on to create the world's first computer animated feature film, Toy Story, and is now the most successful animation studio in the world. In a remarkable turn of events, Apple bought Next, I returned to Apple, and the technology we developed at Next is at the heart of Apple's current renaissance. And Lorraine and I have a wonderful family together. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I love what I did. You have got to find what you love. And that is as true for your work as is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle. Thank you.
That was certainly an inspiring speech, and what a wonderful speech to end today's episode with. Thank you.
ma'am.
Wasn't that a wonderful performance, Stuti?
Yes, I agree. They've been working so hard, and finally, it did bear the fruits of their hard work. I'd like to call Ravina on spotlight now.
Okay, I think this was really, really amazing. And for this, I would like everybody, all the students present here to quickly switch on your cameras. Everybody, come on, switch on your cameras. I am sure everyone, all the audience who was watching, each one of you, they might be amazed and they were applauding. Like even in the comments, I could see some of them were really appreciating each one of you. So we deserve a round of applause. Let's clap for ourselves, everyone. Yay. And before we leave, let us all unmute and say a goodbye and thank you. Let's unmute. Come on, everyone. Unmute. Thank you so much for watching and bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so
Bye.
much.